Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Navneet Education Q1 FY22 conference call hosted by Prabhudas Lilladher Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Jinesh Joshi from Prabhudas Lilladher Private Limited. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Malika. On behalf of Prabhudas Lilladher Private Limited, I welcome you all to the 1Q FY22 earnings call of Navneet Education Limited. As usual, we have with us the management represented by Mr. Sunil Gala, MD, Mr. Deepak Kaku, who's the CFO, and Mr. Romi Mistry, Head IR. I would now like to hand over the call to the management for opening remarks, and then we can open the floor for Q&A. Thank you, and over to you, Sunil sir.
Thank you, Jinesh, and I first of all thanks Prabhudas Lilladher to conduct this Q1 conference call. So hello all, good afternoon. So first I shall talk on the results. So as all of you would have seen, revenue is more or less the same for the first quarter, which is of course not the representative of our business that normally we used to do. But unfortunately, even if we have maintained the revenue more or less, on the main margin business, which is publishing business, that grew by almost 20% in the first quarter, versus stationery grew by certain percentage. With that, the overall operating level margins we could not achieve as per last year. So more or less businesses, because schools not reopening yet what I would say till Q1, there were little sales for all the divisions except the exports. Now, with the past of Q1, the future that I should mention now, that most of the states for the higher standards from grade 8 to grade 12 have opened. Somewhere grade 9 to grade 12 has opened. There are talks among all the states to restart schools for grade 5 to 8 as well. So with that news, we are quite hopeful that the revenue from publishing segment as well as domestic stationery business will come to a much better level than the last year. I should also mention here that in the current year, where main quarter has been lost due to not opening of the school, we do not expect revenues even if all schools open, but we really doubt that all the grades in the school will open, particularly the play school or kindergarten and primary schools. It is less likely to open very soon, and if they open late during the year, we may not achieve good sales in there. So net, we may not be able to achieve 2019-20 levels also in the current year. But overall, the way we see things are progressing, 22-23 will be as normal as every year that we used to perform. Having said that, this is for India business. As far as exports are concerned, as you would have seen, we have grown by around 20 odd percentages. 20 odd percent. Yeah, in exports we grew by that percentages, and we are very, very hopeful that this year will end with the same percentage or little percentage of growth than the last year. Overall, infrastructure required for stationery business. We are still investing in that infrastructure, and the mood, or I would say the inquiries that we are receiving for various products in our category of products is quite large, and future of exports of stationery looks quite bright. So with that, and the core businesses that we are in, I just spoke about. Coming to EdTech, which I'm sure many of you would be curious to understand or know what all that we are doing. So till date, as you all may know, we were focusing state board curriculum only to sell products to the state board schools only. So one of the subsidiary that we are operating that business in has already started developing CBSE curriculum. First product for assessment module has already been launched in the market. We have started showcasing it to the teacher and schools, which we are sure that will have a great demand going ahead, because after lots of survey and understanding the gaps that teachers have or the limitations that teachers had, we have tried solving all of them in there. Simultaneously, content part, which we call it internally LMS, that is also under development. So in the current year, even LMS will be rolled out for all the CBSE schools. So not only in Maharashtra, Gujarat, but at various places in the country, we shall start marketing those products. Apart from that, on EdTech front, we have done few other ventures also. One of that is we are trying to digitize all our books and have DigiBook, we call it DigiBook, and that we have already launched in the market in the month of December. That platform basically as of now is free to the students. And the idea behind that is that whoever buys our physical books can have access to digital library also. And going forward, if that really clicks well, then we'll start monetizing that as well. But it has become very important for us to provide digital books. Now, these digital books have lot many more features than a physical book, so it will be always in the interest of students to use digital book as well. So that is one area that we have got in, where of course we are revising the platform that we had launched, which had few limitations, so that we are improving now, and in the month of September, October, we will have the version 2 in the market. Second product or platform I would say that we are launching is for the age group between 2 and 8. It will be one of its kind type of a platform for that age group. And we believe that after school activities that any child or any parent wishes to give it to their students, if they subscribe to our model, they will have lot many activities for the students, and the students will really be benefited through that platform. So these are a couple of things that we have done. We are also mapping various other activities that we can invest and start planning on those activities as far as EdTech is concerned. So lot many things are happening at Navneet group level, what that we should give in EdTech category, and we are quite hopeful. No doubt any investments or anything that we do in EdTech will tantamount to initial losses also, but we feel that the future for all this product category that we are getting into should do much better in few years. So with that, I just spoke about the new developments that we are doing. Now I request all of you to pose questions. I'm not getting more into numbers right now because everyone has that with them, and any questions on number also I will be glad to answer them, as well as any other question on business if you all have, we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We would like to remind participants that you may press star 1 to ask a question. The first question is from the line of Pawan Aluwalia from Laburnum Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Just a couple of questions. Firstly, on the stationery side, I think you'd mentioned that you would be hitting FY20 numbers and FY22 on the export side. In the first quarter, we're tracking a little bit below that, I think. So I was just wondering, are you expecting a strong pickup in the quarters going forward with, reopening in the Western world? And is there any progress or update in terms of our trying to break into additional customers? I mean, obviously, we know the Walmart relationship is very strong, and that will drive growth. But, are there other relationships that you're targeting right now? Second question was on the K through 12 side of things. What are you seeing in terms of the attendance situation, the fee generation situation, the cash flow generation over there? And how do you see that business being impacted by COVID in the short to medium term? And finally, on the EdTech side, I think anyone with any understanding of the education business will appreciate the initiatives you're taking to be on the right side of technology and not be disintermediated. In terms of building these businesses, we've seen a big flood of capital enter the sector, particularly, thanks to the publicity and success, publicity around and success of Byju's. So I was wondering, we would obviously be a partner of choice for anyone looking to make an EdTech play. And we've taken stakes in a few companies here, but have you considered the possibility, in some of the EdTech products that we're building, of actually taking advantage of a robust funding market and, raising capital at valuations that are attractive for Navneet shareholders to really fund a lot of this EdTech build-up?
Yeah, thanks, Pawan. So first I'll answer about your question on stationery exports business. As you would have seen in the first quarter, also we had a growth of around 20%. So to achieve FY20 number, if my all quarters put together gives me 20-25% growth, automatically what I just mentioned, that we will reach to the FY20 numbers. We have got new customers majorly from US again. And why we got that? First of all, I should also mention here that like in India, even back to school market across globe, including in the US, has affected. So our customers also were carrying lots of inventory of last year. So though I'm saying 20% growth in the current year, not necessarily it will come from the existing product range. But thankfully, my team has developed so many new product ranges, which we showcase to our customers, new customers, and they have appreciated and have started buying. With these introduction of new products, we are saying that we'll be able to achieve FY20 numbers, which we are confident of. Having said that, overall mood among the customer is to source more and more material from other countries than China. And when it comes to India, no doubt Navneet benefits because of its past experience to the customers. So overall, we are quite upbeat on exports of various stationery products. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So I think if I had to summarize what you're saying, both what you said on the domestic business in your introductory remarks and what you're saying in the U.S. business, the big rebound in both businesses, I'm thinking will happen in the next school year.
I fully agree to that. So on domestic front, we are still struggling to revive because of the obvious reason of schools not opening. But on exports in the current year itself, we will see growth over the last year. And going forward, yes, not only in exports but in domestic also, we are introducing many other products which are value-added products. And therefore, not only growth will be in business, but we are hopeful of improving margins as well in stationery business.
Got it. Perfect. And yeah. So
yeah, and the second question of yours was K-12 Techno. So as the promoters, we all decided not to stop growth of opening new schools, even with these tough times. And therefore we have made more investments, and finally in the current year we have 42 schools under operation that we are managing. So cash flow point of view, I agree there has been a challenge, but thankfully we raised capital last year, so we have enough bank balance to not only carry forward for the current year but also to grow up further on for the next year as well. So there is a COVID impact, but simultaneously we knew that it is a very temporary impact. Therefore, one side we are growing schools and simultaneously we are investing heavily into technology to run a school. So technology is just not administration or learning in the classroom, but we are developing so many other products which will be sold to the existing students of our school as well as to an outsider. So there are a couple of products that have been created and we have started receiving good revenue also. So that way we are trying to create a new business as well in K-12. But yes, in the current year, overall there is a challenge in receiving fees from the customers, particularly from the parents. But once schools reopen, then I'm sure that also will get solved. But it is little dicey situation in the current year. But future of K-12.
Are you seeing a greater is there a greater issue with, say, small businessmen, traders whose cash flows have taken an impact, or is it more among middle class salaried people, or is it kind of spread across the board? Everyone is conserving cash.
No, so here in middle class salaried people, middle to little higher middle class salaried people who are our customers, means students, because our fees are in upwards of a lakh of rupees per annum. So it is that category. Now, few of the parents would have lost their jobs during last 1 year. They could, it will be very difficult for them to pay the fees. But overall, what we have seen is the mindset of the parents, that if schools are not operating physically and are being taught online, should they pay fees full, or should they get discount, or should they delay the fees? All these mindset issues are there, and that mindset will change only when schools actually restart physically. So
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
So that was on K-12 front. On EdTech front, you're very right that we are trying to be a little more aggressive than our conventional style, and therefore it will require additional capital. No doubt from the parent company we have decided to invest the initial requirement to launch the products, but simultaneously we are quite open raising capital from outside, and which I'm sure should happen within next 1 year.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Pawan.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press *1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Tandon from Bowhead India. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
My question is regarding stationery exports. Could you please give us a revenue breakup of top 5 countries to which we export stationery?
Deepak, do we have ready with us right now, or we can give them later?
I think we can give them later.
Okay, so Rumi, you'll have to be in touch with them post our call. And
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So my next question would be, so in terms if we look at stationery exports, the seasonality is quite skewed towards quarter one, as you get around more than actually 50% from quarter one, and then the rest is almost equally distributed between quarter second, third, and fourth. So I would like to understand the reason for the seasonality, and it would be fair to assume that most of our stationery exports would also be back to school.
No, as I mentioned a little earlier, so we are changing the product mix and would not like to depend just on back to school business, and accordingly we have introduced several products which are not only used in the schools but also in the offices. Processes are the same to manufacture such product, and therefore we believe that more and we are trying to get into a business which is year all round business, and with that introduction of newer products range since last 2 odd years, this year we are seeing that there is a growth in there, and therefore we believe that we'll be able to grow substantially from here. Not only in back to school, yes, there is a degrowth in the current year, but with new product range, we will grow in the current year, and going forward, then we will have growth in both back to school business also and in the new product range that we have introduced.
Okay. So would it be fair to assume that the second wave did impact our stationery exports also?
So no, second wave has not impacted, but because our major sales have been in the US market. But what impacted us, particularly in back to school business, that last year with expectation our customers called for an inventory, but they could not sell that last year, and therefore they were carrying lots of inventory with them. So that items order we received much lesser in the current year. But overall, in the Western market where we export, there is no impact of second. So I would say secondary sales are good, but primary sale from our to the customer has reduced in as far as back to school business is concerned, and therefore we have introduced newer products also.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Kartik Gada from Multiple Wealth Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, Kartik.
Yeah. Thank you for your time. So one question. In the last call, we had a discussion that you feel that the physical books would not go away, especially for our bread and butter, which is Maharashtra, Gujarat, state board market. So now with this digitization of the books, which you mentioned earlier, so any estimates on what could be or what sort of market size would Digibooks have? And do you see maybe not immediately, not right away, but in some way, in small way, would Digibooks start cannibalizing our state board business also? Not completely, but any small moves or which can be cannibalizing our state board business?
Yeah, Kartik. So first of all, let me clarify. I still maintain my statement that physical books are not going to go away, particularly for SSC medium schools. Now that we are hearing even in elite schools also, physical books are still very important. Having said that, we are creating a Digibook, but that is an additional feature we are providing to the customers who are buying physical book. This will have two benefits to us. One, student of course will be benefited, but secondly, with additional feature, customers will not think of going to competition. That is one benefit that we are seeing, and the other benefit that I am looking very long term, I am saying that if they end up buying only digital book of ours, overall company benefits in totality. So let me just again reiterate that what we are selling is content, and content faith that the student community, the teacher community has on Navneet, that will continue to remain. So whether we sell it physical or digital, finally we are selling content, and therefore we are not really worried that even if digital book usage increases, it will impact Navneet at all. Rather, it will benefit Navneet.
Okay. Do you see digital book can possibly expand the market in any way?
Not really. The way we are structured in India as far as education is concerned, finally that will be restricted to the state curriculum. If I'm talking about the state curriculum books, as far as CBSE type of textbooks are concerned, where also we are in through our subsidiary Indianica, there of course usage can be from any part of the world or any part of India, so that way it can increase. But what we have always seen in K-12 segment, whatever school recommends, that only students are going to buy. So we'll have to make continuous efforts to create awareness and get books accepted in various institutions that we reach. So that way, whether it is digital or physical, efforts of ours reaching out to those schools and creating demand has to continue, and then only we can have higher volume growth.
Okay. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Susmit Patodia from Motilal Oswal Asset Management Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir, good afternoon, and thank you for your time. Sir, firstly on this stationery business, is there a significant difference between the EBITDA margins in export and domestic?
Yeah, at present in exports, the EBITDA margins are around 16-17%, versus in domestic it is 8-9% as of now.
Okay. And this 8-9% is what was in FY20, FY19, in a normal year as well? I gave this number in a normal year only. Okay. And sir, how are the working capital cycles in export?
So it is overall 4 months of an investment in working capital, which includes raw material for producing the goods, and thereafter between 60 to 90 days of credit to the customer. So that way it is 4 month cycle.
Okay. And so lastly on the schools part, how have you accounted for the fees? Because your cash flows for FY21 don't seem to have any impact from non-payment of fees at a console level. So have you not accounted for the fees due from the students?
Yeah. So we account only what is received, because in this scenario in particular, we are not sure how much will they pay, and therefore we have decided to account only what we receive. So that has been accounted in our K-12 company, and that has been shown as income.
Okay, so not what is accrued fees.
No.
Only what is received fees.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anand from Newport. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Anand.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I have a couple of questions. One is on the publishing side. So given that looks like schools are going to reopen state-wise in a small way at least, I just want to understand why you have said that you will not be able to recover the publishing revenue. So I just want to understand at what point in time the consumer decides saying that now the schools are open, so I need to buy these supplementary books. Is it when he feels that the exams are going to happen, or he waits for the exams to be announced, I mean the final exams which did not happen last year, or he buys when the schools open, or how is the decision making from the consumer part? So that would help us in deciding whether the publishing revenue will move based on the reopening.
Yeah, let me answer that first. So, as you know, we are in K-12 segment, which is right from kindergarten till 12th grade. Now, even if schools are opening in various states on different dates, I said in the beginning that kindergarten and primary schools to reopen soon looks very difficult, and therefore that revenue we will not be able to get back as in the normal year. Therefore, I said that we will not be able to achieve revenue as we had achieved in 1920. So that is one reason why we will not be able to achieve full revenue as earlier. And second reason is that if schools reopen late, the need of school to use all the books may reduce, and therefore the final decision making is by the school only, what to prescribe and what not to. So that way there are chances, if schools open in the month of August or latest by September, then for the grades that have opened, we are not really worried. But if in some parts, if it really does not open, then there could be some reduction. So net primary level sales loss, as well as schools not reopening in time and delay, that may cause some less in sales, and therefore I mentioned that we will not be able to achieve 1920 number as far as publications are concerned.
Understood. So secondly, earlier on one of the earlier calls, you had mentioned that in the current year at 22, you expect Essence and Indianica to turn PAT positive. Now this was before the second wave. So I just want to understand, is your confidence level still the same on turnaround of these two, or second wave has changed things?
I will say yes and no both. Reason being, unfortunately, the situation is not in our control. This is totally external factor which is disturbing to us. So if schools are opening even now in August, September, then we are very confident that it will definitely achieve break-even. But if schools somehow it does not open on time or gets delayed due to some additional wave, then we will have an issue. So with the premise that schools are reopening, we are confident.
Understood. Just lastly, on this EdTech business, so I was going through the apps of Navneet, and Topper has got 10 million, 1 crore downloads. DigiBook is 100K, and TopScorer is 1 million. But I think there is some scope for the ratings of these apps to go up. So TopScorer rating is like 3.7, DigiBook is 2.2. Topper is still decent, 4.3. So are you cognizant of the ratings, and is work happening to make sure that the ratings move up? So
very much.
More downloads happen?
Agreed. Very much we are concerned about rating, and it was little new on our part to launch these apps, and therefore right teams have been appointed. So whatever limitations that we had on the app are under improvement. So I'm sure month on month the ratings should improve, and we are very much cognizant of that.
Understood. And just one supplementary question to this. So I was a bit surprised that 1 crore people have downloaded Topper. So how did you achieve this? So how is the sales of Topper going to? Is it that the teachers are recommending that you download Topper, or what is, how is the sales of Topper?
Yeah, it is TopScorer. So in the first wave, we did, so the number is just not for the first quarter though, which we might have presented in our presentation. It was the peak number that we saw. And particularly during last year when we wanted students to use this product. So when schools were, it was 100% lockdown, that time we gave that for free. And therefore more and more students tried using that app, and we were hopeful that post schools reopen, same students will actually subscribe to it. But that till date did not happen, and so we are not really seeing traction in usage on subscription basis till now. But once again schools reopen, then we are very, very hopeful.
And lastly, sir, on this EdTech business again, for an earlier question, you mentioned that you're open to possibilities. But I think given that Navneet is a marquee name in education, we hear so many of the smaller names being discussed. They are all unlisted, but smaller names get discussed a lot more, and Navneet somehow doesn't seem to be on the radar, which I think is a perception issue. So to that extent, I think maybe we could do some more work to highlight the capabilities of Navneet in the investor community, which would help the shareholders as well as the company.
We are quite aware of these limitations of ours and accordingly addressing all those issues. So I'm sure this question of yours will not reoccur after 3 to 6 months.
Wonderful. Brilliant. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Giriraj Daga from KM Visaria Family Trust. Please go ahead.
Hello, team. Thanks for the opportunity. My first question is related to our stationery exports. So how will FY23 looks like? So the excess inventory should get over by this year. So if you have any indication on FY23?
So minimum 20% growth over FY22 that we are very sure of. So if we are likely to achieve, as I said, FY20 number, which is what, around 500 crore. So over and above that, we should have at least 20% growth next year.
Okay, that's good to hear. Second question is India Nika. So what I understand is that India Nika, are seasonality wise, Q4 is heavy, and that is also for the next season. And
That's
since
right.
next season we are assuming to be very normal, so ideally it should be a normal year for India Nika because Q4 will be heavy.
Yeah, we are very confident, and therefore I said in my one of the answer question that we are very hopeful that since schools will be reopening at least by January, February in full swing, we should be able to achieve break even for sure.
Is there some issue for primary and secondary here also that there might be some sales return which will might happen in India Nika, something like that?
So what I mentioned is for the current academic year. For the next academic year, I believe even now primary students are the most sufferer. That 2 years they will not get learning in the school. So I'm sure most of the not only schools but even parents want their students to send. So next year, I'm sure, including primary, everything should open in normal course.
No, sorry, I meant to say that whether we have supplied to the dealers or the schools, and schools have not been able to give to the students. So primary sales and secondary sales, I was referring.
In the current year?
Yeah, for India Nika, let's say.
No.
The Q4 will be very normal for us this time.
That's right.
Okay. My next question is on the EdTech segment. So, what is we have seen couple of investments, small chunks in a couple of multiple firms. So, is there a limit that, okay, we have set a target of maybe 30 crore, 50 crore, that this is the kind of investment we are looking as a strategic partner there? And second question related to what is the kind of cash burn possibly or the investment through a digital investment, what you are looking? Is there a cap to that?
Yeah. So overall investment that we have almost in the process of completion will be around 30 odd crore in these 3 companies. And in the current year, we are not likely to invest in more companies. We want to understand those businesses and want to leverage the strengths of Navneet in those companies. So that we will do. We have selected companies which has definitely big potential to grow. So that way, overall our investment should be a good investment, we believe. But now to your question on cash burn, in those 3 companies where we are invested, we are not, except one company, we are not seeing any cash burn per se, maximum 3 to 4 crore. But as far as various activities that we are doing at eSense and in Navneet, there we are likely to see around 30 odd crore cash burn in the current year itself. Because as a policy, most of the things that we do, even develop, we write it off, and therefore we will see that cash burn.
Okay. Last question from my side, and it's more of a strategic question. On a K-12 segment, since the market is obviously going through, the industry is going through a distress, and with the Navneet has a very strong balance sheet, and they have very strong equity PE partner also. So are we looking at a consolidation in that space? If given an opportunity, are we looking to consolidate? Because anyway, time is going to change. Maybe not 6 months down the line, maybe 1 year down the line. But this is the best time when we can accelerate the pedal on this K-12, maybe by acquiring some distressed assets and other things. Any thoughts on that line?
Yeah. So as far as in K-12 independently, if you look, we are looking at many other opportunities. One is organically, as I mentioned, developing many edtech products, not only for the students of K-12 but other students as well. And we are open to look at any other opportunity which helps K-12 grow further from here. But as far as now, if your question is to Navneet that whether we would like to consolidate further, then the answer is no.
No, my question is like with the current 42 school, can you go to let's say 100 school?
Yeah. So that is the plan. That is the plan. So by 2025, we should be 100 schools for sure. Okay. That is already a decided plan.
Okay. That was my question, that if we get some asset of 20 schools of some chain or 50 schools of some chain.
Yeah. We are open on that. We are open organically, inorganically both. So my business development teams are on the road even during lockdown. So we are identifying opportunities and continuously deciding on that. But in next 3 years, we have a target to reach 200 schools.
Okay. Thanks a lot and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Naveen from Bellwether Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Naveen.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. This is again on the EdTech. We have our own offering, and recently we have invested in 3 companies. So just wanted to understand, is there any change in strategy that we are adopting? And most of these companies are unique in terms of like Kavnish is a maths-focused company. So just want to get your feel on that.
Sure. So first of all, EdTech is a very, very wide sector. Whatever that we have focused till date in Navneet, that is majorly related to either SSC schools or pure K-12 offering, be it CBSE or ICSE. So that way, we will do all that development organically. But simultaneously, because of the vast field or many areas in EdTech, we decided to partner with few companies which can grow on its own, maybe with the help of Navneet as well. So that way, we are quite hopeful that we'll be able to leverage strengths of Navneet, helping those companies to grow further from here. So that way, we are very confident. So overall, we have a dual strategy. One is grow organically wherever Navneet has an experience, and simultaneously either invest in the companies which are in little different segments in EdTech. So I doubt any company ever will be able to focus or cater each and every part of EdTech, and therefore this dual strategy should work with us. That's our thinking.
Okay. And in terms of very specific to Kavnish, it seems to be a very small company, and we have invested close to 19 odd crores. So right. Just wanted your thing on the valuation, and will it involve any further investment from our side in terms of content development, or is it a ready platform that we can which will only need a marketing sort of push?
Right. So you're very right. The business is very small, but we have invested a much larger amount for a particular stake. But let me tell you, a tech industry, frankly, or rather any technology industry does not work on the revenue, but on an estimations. So when we looked at the product of Carvanish, which is called B Galileo is the brand, we really found that very, very attractive, and we saw that it has markets not only in India but internationally as well. And keeping that in mind, they needed money to grow the business, to create awareness of their products in various parts of the world. So they needed money for that, and therefore we thought it is a great company to invest in, and therefore we invested. But there are no thoughts or discussion on further investments going forward from here in that company further.
Okay. And one more question leading to that is, it also has a Wisdom Leap, which is similar to what our offering is for CBSE schools. So any plans to leverage that, or how do you plan to use?
So they are not marketing their product in the CBSE schools, but definitely the content that they have created, whatever is relevant in the current year or current scenario, that of course we will leverage that and bring our products faster in the market. So that is already in our mind. Hello? Hello?
Your question is...
Is that answered, Mr. Naveen?
The line for the participant is disconnected.
Oh.
We would like to remind participants that you may press *1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Jinesh Doshi. Please go ahead.
Any particular timeline you have in mind with respect to announcement of NCF, and by when do you think that this change in curriculum will start getting reflected into our financials?
I think the education department of respective state governments as well as central, they need to settle first with this COVID impact. Post that only they will announce. But what we understand and hear that FY23 looks quite possible for them to look at change curriculum. So the first curriculum that they wanted to change should start from FY23.
Sure. And sir, secondly, with respect to rising paper prices, I mean, are we planning on any kind of a price hike in the near to medium term? And if not, I mean, how do we plan to manage our gross margin in this environment?
So if I tell you our business cycle, that we start production in the month of October for the next academic year sales. So that has already happened last year. So we have enough inventory, be it raw material or finished product, to take care of our current year sales. So we really don't need to increase any MRP or pricing of our product. Going forward, as I have always been saying, that what we are selling is content. Therefore, pricing is secondary, and if there are any input cost increase, we are always confident of passing it on to the customers.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for participating, and I have tried answering all the questions to your satisfaction. If not, please talk to us directly. We'll try and answer them. So I once again thank Jinesh Joshi as well as Prabhudas Lilladher to have conducted Q1 conference call of Navneet Education Limited, and we look forward for the same kind of service and facility from you all. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Prabhudas Lilladher Private Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.